folks, welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. It's been a long time since we've had a conversation on high dollar items. So today's video is about my acquisition of this $25,000 approximate value Beta Black Lotus. Now, good timing because a few days ago, or last week by the time you watch this, there was that a bunch of people were asking me about that auction online where somebody got a $13,000 Beta Lotus. It was a super good deal. And Rudy, it was the best deal ever. So we got ourselves a nice, it's not gem minty, got a lot of dust. We're going to pull it out and take a look at it. So first, before we get into the video, this is what the actual card is. So let's take a look here. So on this Beta Lotus, we can see the wear. Most of the wear is the top. We got the corner there. Surface looks pretty clean. I see a little dot there. I don't see any major dents and dings. See a little, looks like a little dirt spot or something right there. Back of the card, overall, pretty nice. Pretty nice. We got a little, obviously we got the wear across the top of the card. And we got a little wear mark right there at the bottom of the card. So, the biggest takeaway to understand is you have two types of fraud when it comes to beta cards. You have rebacks from these and these, collectors and international. And you have simply just counterfeits from the world of hopes and dreams. Which is, I'm coming, here it comes. The world of hopes and dreams, which is what we store in the hopes and dreams box, which are people who send me fake cards, want me to learn from fake cards, want me to see what's going on. Oh, wait, did I see a Lotus over here? We may have saw a Lotus over here. Well, yeah, that's not much of a Lotus, am I right? Oh, I like it. It's got the good fake wear and tear on it with a nice real back on there. So we got a rebacked one on that one. What else we got hiding under here? Can we find a Beta Black Lotus? Let's see. Oh, I remember the cut up fake cards. Ooh, so what else we got in the hopes and dreams? Do we have more betas? No, we don't. Oh wait, at the bottom? I think we got something. There's one. Hold on here. Here we got a way at the bottom down here. We got a nice looks like a second, third generation. Nice and faded, very thick. Ooh, look at that shine. You can polish Rudy's shiny head when I lose all my hair. So, I don't even know why it's in a sleeve. I'll just reuse the sleeve. Alright, so anyways, I was hoping to have a beta one there. But okay. So that's the thing. So when you deal with just beta, those are the two things, either rebacked or just straight up fake. So the problem is the rebacks are going to have a real front, but a fake back. And of course, the front will not be beta. It'll be from a collector's edition. So now we're going to pause here and we're going to discuss about registrations and details and things like that. So we're going to put this aside. I know, it's been a long time. We're going to bring out some Rudy God books here from the vault here. Pulled them out today. And there's a couple things everybody needs to understand. When we get into these, when you deal with raw beta cards, these are not graded, these are just Rudy's raw. Rudy's raw. Raw Rudy. All of these beta cards possess very distinctive registration marks. They all contain the same placement of the casting cost digits. They have a certain font and thickness of the artist names. And same thing with the title of the card and, of course, the type of card in the middle. Okay? That's the same on all of those. Okay? Now, when it comes to other things, like let's jump over here. So when you look at like unlimited cards, you don't have that kind of risk. There's only one type of fraud in unlimited, and that is you just get a straight up fake card. There are no rebacked unlimiteds. It's not a thing because, again, these only exist for the betas, okay? Every once in a while, you get a moron who tries to like cut up a beta and try to make it into an alpha, and it ends poorly. Now, in unlimited cards, you are going to have some variations. You're going to have some that are going to have more of a brown tone and a lighter brown tone, and some of them that have more wear. You'll see a little bit, this one's real dirty. So you are going to have some more variance when it comes to unlimited printing of cards, okay? So unlimiteds tend to have, in my opinion, two versions. Many times, it's more of a, I call it a little bit of a thicker font, a little bolder look, which like this one right here stands out to me as a darker, and this one stands out to as a little bit lighter. And again, it could be the lighting and the angle on the camera. So overall though, you just have to make sure your cards are authentic when you deal with unlimited, okay? That's the biggest takeaway. So hold on a second, I'm gonna walk over here. I know you can see it. I'm gonna grab some raw unlimited cards. So right here, I have a stack of raw unlimited I've been auditing from another collection recently. And you can see, when you look at raw unlimited cards, you can see kind of some variation. Look at the scrubland, how that font is. compared to the Underground Sea is a thinner, darker, more grayed out font. This one's a little lighter, more bold. Plateau's a little darker, thinner. You have those variations. And of course, here we go. Come on, where's it at? The world famous Volcanic Island, you have the infamous dark print that always freaks people out who aren't familiar with it. Okay, there's another volcanic. So you have those kind of variations. So again, the risk level in handling unlimited cards is very different. If you're not very confident in your skills, I always recommend buy yourself a raw card, even if it's a lower grade, okay, and use that as something to feel and make sure it matches the texture. So now, back to the Black Lotus conversation. So when we look at Black Lotuses, okay, Black Lotus Eye. So here we're looking at some raw cards from the Rudy Vault, okay? None of these obviously are graded. We have, of course, we have a signed Rudy Rush down here. We've got some variations. You got some little darker tone. You got some lighter tones, real rough conditions. Look at that yellow, really rough. And of course, I got two collector's editions I just shoved over there because I try to keep collector's edition with complete sets, and sometimes I have loose cards. So on unlimited Lotuses, or Lotus Eye, again, the biggest thing is you are going to have variations between whitening in the yellow. And the yellowing is caused from sunlight bleaching, smoking, bad environment. It depends how it was stored over the last 30 years. Now, of course, variation in the Lotus, like for example, there's certain cards, like these particular 3 Lotus, I've always wanted to get graded because they are so beautiful, especially these 2. And I think a couple of these I've been wanting to get graded years ago, but then all the craziness happened. PSA, made their prices expensive. Then 2020 happened, and I was like, forget it. It's been sitting ever since. So you have some really rough damage ones and everything. But again, besides the variation in the colors, there are no major rebacks in the unlimited sector of dealing with high-end Magic cards, okay? So that's something I wanted to just share and get out in the open immediately. So now we're going to shift the video. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, kind of a nice little introduction for everybody, we're going to bring out the collector's edition sets, and we're going to talk. Wait, that one's not open. I'm not going to open that one up. Just so you know, if you're not familiar, when these come from the factory, they come in 6 blocks like this, and that's how they come factory sealed, and you can see pull tabs and everything. So we're not actually going to open those just for the video. I thought that one was open for some reason. So we're going to come here. Let's grab the, let's go in the artifacts. Let's get ourselves a Black Lotus. All right, so we got ourselves the collector's edition Black Lotus out in the open. So let's deal with this. We got a collector's edition Lotus. All right, now we have some actual beta Lotuses, and let's look at, we're going to compare beta Lotus Eye, okay? So, like we talked about, every single, graded card, even if it's the blue cards, are going to have the same registration type of marks, okay? All of them, all the way across. Even when you go to the artifacts, they're all going to have the same registration. That circle on all the beta Mox Pearls, that circle is going to be off-centered to the right, okay? That circle is going to look like that. These fonts at the bottom of Dr. Dan Frazier, also known as Double D Dan, Dan Frazier over here, DF, that font is going to look the same, okay? So let's move forward here. We've got ourselves a Beckett, a PSA, and a Raw. So we got 3 beta Lotuses, and we've got a collector edition Lotus. Is it Lotus Eye? I feel like, again, this is an educational video. We're not doing giggities. We're not doing memes. I'm not going to be washer dryer. I'm not, we're not helping your wife's boyfriend. This is an educational video for everybody out there. Okay, so let's jump into this. So first thing we're going to talk about, so these beta. So let's look at this beta. We got this beta Lotus right here. See the word Black Lotus? Do we have Rudy's tool? Whatever happened to Rudy's tool? Anybody seen Rudy's tool? Your ex has Rudy's tool. Look at the casting costs. Look at the old Dr. Rush down there. Okay. Okay. Let's look at this. Okay. Those Christopher Rush signatures or illustration by on literally here and here have the same identical. Like again, I know it's not the best because we have a little bit of a height difference in the camera, so we can't focus perfectly. But they are very, very consistent with each other. You look at that circle. Look at that nice casting cost, slightly offset to the right. Do you see that on both of them? Because remember, Magic the Gathering, the way this kind of offset printing works, these cards are printed, and then the text, again, I don't want to get too much into the registration and kind of auditing process, but the thing that is important everybody to understand is that these cards, when they print these things, they are very, very, they're printed, they're not just stamped and they just shoot off. Like this text is you can tell it's stamped on top of the background. There's a lot of things. That's why, again, you have things like off-centered casting costs here. Now, we pull out our collector's edition. Now, when we look at this, the very first thing that stands out is look at those zeros. Anybody notice the collector's edition is not offset to the right? Anybody notice that? Look at that zero. It's almost perfectly centered, or it'll be tilted to the left. That is a very, very common thing, okay? So hang on a second. Let me show you another example. Hang on. All right, I got two more. So let's look now. So when you look at all three of these Black Lotus eye, you're going to notice none of those circles go to the right. That looks pretty centered. This top two look kind of centered. Bottom one's got the old little slant to the left there. And of course, the Black Lotus text is very consistent on all of them. So if we do the same thing, let's reverse it. Let's go down to the legendary Christopher Rush. So when you look at these three signatures, very consistently printed. No variance, nothing weird. One's not thicker than the other. They are very consistent. Now, let's take a look at the new acquisition to add to the Rudy Vault here. We've got ourselves the real, by the way, if you guys want to see, the collector's editions in the real Beta Lotus. Now, when we put the real Beta Lotus with these collector's editions, let's line them all up. All right. You will notice that once again that the real Beta Lotus is the only one with the off-center to the right. All the other circles are either going to be centered or they're going to have a left slant. The real Beta Lotuses are to the right. I'm going to take out the sleeve, and we're going to take this real Beta Lotus, and I'm going to see if you guys can tell on my camera. Sorry, I know it's a little difficult. When we look at the real Beta Lotus, to me, it stands out immediately, and I hope you guys can see that. The Christopher Rush almost looks like somebody put the bold font. The Christopher Rush is bold, and the other ones are not. The top card is very clearly bold, and the rest are not. So that concludes the basic conversation right here. So and again, it's the same thing. When you compare even this Beckett one, look at the Beckett to the real one. Look at this circle. Tilt it to the right. Okay? Let's get these collector's editions out. Every single one, circle to the left, centered to the left, perfectly centered. Actual beta, right there, actual beta, tilted to the right. And just verify one more time. So, let's stop right there for a second. So I just want to lay this out here. So when we talk about these situations, it's not as simple as people think. The point of this video is to try to educate many of you all out there in that this whole concept that, oh, you can easily just counterfeit everything. Oh, there's how many one-of-one rings there are. I've got a whole necklace of one-of-one ring. All this silly internet bamboozle, fear-mongering, FOMOs and hype mans. And when it comes down to the real money and the real people who know how to handle these things, the graders, the actual buy list of a large store, when you start getting involved in big money, the people at that level are very intricately educated and well-informed, or at least they better be if they want to be handling this kind of stuff. And in my personal opinion, I have yet to date to see anything that's proven with anybody, from anyone, from anywhere, that high-quality counterfeits that can fool grading or someone who's educated. I've yet to really see it. And I stand by that for the 8 years I've been on YouTube. And again, not saying that 100 years from now, some AI giant Skynet overlord with Elon Musk's head, with Mark Zuckerberg's body, and Jeff Bezos' ripped muscles and how he looked, not young Bezos, new Bezos, and Elon Musk will have 48,669 kids. I'm not saying it can't change. But right now, when I see these auctions, and people send me these links of these Beta Lotuses, and that's why I always joke, you put those high-definition scans on any online listing, chances are, if you're trying to pass a fake card, you're going to get crushed and you're going to get busted. And the problem is, like we've talked about in the other videos, they don't target informed people. They don't try to sell to a big store. They don't try to buy lists. They don't try to go to a big event to sell to a vendor. They don't contact YouTubers like me. They try to sell on goodwill, My loss is your gain. Look, Rudy, my grandmother, rest in peace, rest in pepperonis. You know, she passed away 69 years ago. In her basement, there were so many Black Lotus eyes stacked up. They touched your basement. And, you know, look, I don't have time to handle it, so my loss is your gain. Is one original owner. It was Batman. This was from a storage unit. There was millions of dollars, but he didn't pay the $20 monthly fee. I've heard every story imaginable. Okay, so I hope this video helps explain to you all that. And this is just the example of the zero in the casting cost video. There are other details inside of these cards that I'm really not going to go over in this video, but I wanted you all just to kind of have a generic understanding, okay? There's a lot more registration marks between corners, tips, the middle text box. There's some other things, but I'm really not going to go into that on this video. We're going to let it be, but I just want to give the world an understanding that these things are not just, oh, let's just print a fake card and just milk it for millions of dollars and steal from people. And that's why they end up on auction ninjas and stupid websites by sellers who have history of selling fake cards. Trust me, in my opinion, after that auction ninja pulled down the pictures so nobody could look at the counterfeit card, a bunch of people sent me screenshots of this. Even the seller on that website had negative feedback in a history of selling fake cards and offering refunds. So if he gets caught, you get your money back. If you don't say anything, you lose a ton of money, and maybe years later you find out and you just get that sick feeling. That's the problem with this kind of stuff, is they target a certain demographic of people who are more desperate, lower income. Maybe they're excited because they know they couldn't afford the higher price, and they're looking for a certain type of buyer. And that is what makes it such a nasty, disappointing, tragic thing, because they are targeting people that they think they can scam. Okay, so folks, hope you had a beautiful day. If you have any questions or anything, if you're looking to sell any old Magic cards, even though everyone says the future of old Magic's useless and it's all going to zero, hey, I have obsession, compulsive addiction, Magic problems, AlphainvestmentsLLC at gmail.com. The old PP, no giggities for the pictures and prices. You got some high-end Magic? Send them to me. I'm not going to pay you 100 cents on the dollar, but I'm going to make sure you don't get scammed, and I still pay between 60 and 70% of eBay sold, the same as it's been for the last 8 years, except for a 60-day window in COVID when I was able to get away with paying less because everybody thought everything was going to zero and you couldn't sanitize Magic cards with a wipe. It's kind of funny. Besides that, hope you all learned something today. And as always, like I said, it is a rough market out there. So, the most important thing is if you're able to, stomach and handle the swings of many things, I would sit tight where it is. I don't recommend selling right now unless you absolutely have to. And have a beautiful day, everybody. Thanks for watching.